Every great app, every piece of software, it all starts as this big, kind of messy, ambitious idea, right? So how do you actually take that chaos and turn it into a real finished product without, going completely crazy? Well, today we're going to talk about the tool that's designed to do exactly that. It's called Jira. Seriously, just think about it. How does any team build something really complex, like a new app or even something like a house, and not have it just completely fall apart into chaos? It's a huge question, right? Because when you have dozens of people all working on hundreds of different tasks, keeping everything straight is the fundamental problem that every single project has to solve. And the answer, the solution to that chaos, is something called project management. You can think of it like the scaffolding that keeps a building from collapsing while it's being built. It's the blueprint, not just for what you're making, but how you're going to get it done, step by step by step. And that is exactly where Jira comes in. It's this powerful tool from a company called Atlassian. And what it does is it takes all those big ideas of project management and puts them into one digital space where everyone can collaborate. Honestly, it's become so essential that for a lot of tech teams, it's basically the language they speak to build things. All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at the big picture. Then, we'll dive right into the core workspace of Jira. We'll follow a real project from a huge idea all the way down to a tiny task. We'll talk about why this is such a valuable skill in the real world, and then we'll wrap up with the one key thing you should take away from all this. Okay, let's start by zooming all the way out to that big picture. Because, see, Jira isn't just a piece of software, it's a solution to a really common problem. And to really appreciate what it does, you gotta first understand the challenges that come with any big project. When you really get down to it, any project, I don't care if you're building a skyscraper or launching a new app, it all boils down to this cycle of four things. You got to plan the work, you organize all your people and resources, you actually do the work, that's execution, and you're constantly monitoring your progress to make sure you're staying on track. So how does a tool like Jira actually help a team manage that whole cycle? Well, it all starts with this one brilliantly simple idea: making all the work visible. And the heart of that idea is a workspace called the Kanban board. The absolute genius of the Kanban board is how simple and visual it is. I mean, instead of digging through crazy complicated spreadsheets or endless email chains, everyone on the team can just look at the board and instantly see the status of the entire project. It's all just laid out in a few simple columns. First up, you've got the to-do column. Think of this as your project's backlog. It's the master list of everything, and I mean everything, that needs to get done. Nothing's been started yet. It's all just sitting there, waiting. Next is the in-progress column. Now, when someone on the team is ready to start a task, they literally just drag the card from to-do over to in-progress. This gives everyone total clarity on what the team is working on right this second. You know exactly where the effort is going. And finally, my personal favorite, the best column of all, done. Once the work is totally finished, the card moves here. It becomes this amazing visual record of everything you've accomplished. And let me tell you, there is nothing more satisfying than watching that done column fill up. Okay, so a board with a bunch of cards moving across columns. That seems simple enough, right? But where do those cards even come from? How do you take a massive, complicated project and break it down into these neat little pieces? Let's follow the journey using a real software example. So, it all starts with what's called an epic. An epic is not some tiny little task. No, it's a huge chunk of work, like a major new feature. So, for example, let's say our epic is build a password reset feature for a website. That's our big goal. And the key thing to remember is an epic is way too big to work on all at once. So, you take that giant epic and you break it down into smaller pieces called stories. And this is where things get really clever. A story reframes the work from the user's perspective. It always starts with, as a user, I want to. It's all about the why. This simple trick forces the team to stay focused on solving a real problem for a real person, not just building stuff for the sake of it. Okay, so now we move from the why of the story to the how. Each story gets broken down even further into specific, actionable tasks. These are the concrete steps the team is going to take. Things like design the user interface or build the back-end API. Now the focus shifts from the user's goal to the team's actual work. And if you have a really complex job, you can break a task down one last time into subtasks. These are the tiniest, most detailed steps you can imagine. And this hierarchy, from epic to story to task to subtask, that is the magic of the whole system. It's how Jira gives you a clear roadmap for taking a huge, intimidating goal and just systematically breaking it down into a simple checklist of small, achievable wins. Okay, so we get the what and the how. We see the system. But why does any of this actually matter to you? I mean, why should you even care about learning a tool like Jira? Well, here's why. It's because Jira has become the central meeting place for pretty much every single role in a modern tech company. We're talking project managers, developers, designers, the people who test the software, they all live in Jira. It's not just a tool anymore. It's the shared language they all speak to get work done, together. And because it's used everywhere, knowing your way around Jira isn't just a nice-to-have skill on your resume anymore. For a huge number of jobs out there, it's a flat-out requirement. Learning it is a direct line to more career opportunities. Simple as that. I mean, you'll literally find entire jobs built around it, like a Jira administrator or an Atlassian consultant. But even more importantly, you'll see Jira experience required listed on job descriptions for Scrum Masters, project managers, and developers at thousands and thousands of companies. It's just expected. All right, so after all of that, what's the one big idea you should walk away with? If you're going to remember one thing about Jira, what should it be? Let's boil it all down. Here's the key takeaway. Jira's real power is its structure. It forces teams to take those massive, messy, ambitious ideas and just break them down, piece by piece by piece, until they become a clear series of totally achievable tasks. It literally turns chaos into a plan, and then it helps you turn that plan into a finished product. So now that you know there's a framework out there for turning any big idea into a concrete plan, the only question left is, what big idea